Hello, this is Bill Clodsey here with an Eldritch Moon 8.4 draft. So this format is really kind of interesting. There's a lot of different viable strategies and aggressive decks, slow decks, all kinds of things. Um, so let's see what we can make out of it. This first pick is interesting. I like a lot of cards in this pack, a few blue cards, and especially Somberwald Stag and Subjugator Angel. For me, I prefer the color green. The other good cards are Ingenious Scab and Cryptolith Fragment, but despite being colorless, that one is not quite as good as these guys. I'll take the Stag. Costing 1 mana less is so important. Oh, this is pretty cool too. Emrakul's Evangel. Get a lot of Eldrazi horror tokens. And I can imagine this works well with, let's see, non-Eldrazi creatures. This works well with a few different cards. Maybe something like Desperate Sentry or what have you. It even works with like spirit tokens or something if that's going to be the way you go. Yeah, I'll try this out. There's a perfectly fine green common here with the Captive, but yeah, this effect is pretty interesting. I don't know what he's doing. He's like, drink. Anyway, Bloodbriar and Lone Rider. Oh no. This has got to be the best card in the pack. Lone Rider. It just gets out of hand so quickly if you have any way to power it up or gain life. So that's going to be the pick here for me. And there's even some ways in green to pump creatures, so that could actually work out here. It is a human. I mean, that's kind of the synergy in white-green. So here's one way, Cultist Staff. That is one way to pump a guy up. Yeah, besides that, there's Oath of Liliana, Spontaneous Mutation, Scour the Laboratory, and Primal Druid, which are all okay. Let's see. Yeah, maybe here. Yeah, I mean, Dawn Gryph is pretty good too. This one's tough. Unless we want to go into blue for Scour the Laboratory, I don't see exactly what we should do here. I'll take Primal Druid. It is a human. There are some combos with it. It does work well with Emrakul's Evangel. Okay, not much white left, which is surprising, getting a third pick Lone Rider. But not ridiculous. And then Bloodbriar here. That works well with clues and blue-green and all kinds of stuff. It is a strong card. I mean, a 2/3 for 3 is not much, but it's so easy to sacrifice a first permanent with Terrarian. When you pick this up early, you can prioritize sacrifice outlets. Alright, so we're kind of back into white a little bit here. Desperate Sentry is good, Spectral Reserves is good, and also kind of works well with Lone Rider. If you can get that first damage in with the Rider, then there's the extra 2 you need. Repel the Abominable is nice in this kind of human strategy, maybe. So yeah, that's going to be the pick here for me, especially since these spirits work well with the Evangel. Whoa, that was weird. Okay. Lupine Prototype, Lunarch Mantle. I actually like Lunarch Mantle. The Prototype isn't something that, well, it is something we could sacrifice. And Lunarch Mantle, yeah, Lunarch Mantle just works with so many different things here. I'm going to take that over Lupine Prototype. And paid off because Ironclad Slayer is one of the real reasons to be playing Lunarch Mantle. You can two for one yourself easily with this, but your opponent will always try to kill that thing that you suit up, so you'll oftentimes be able to get it back. And this is just an all-around good card, the Slayer. Okay, this is a funny card, Mind's Dilation. I once saw it in a mono blue deck that actually did really well. It's like if you're ahead and you play this, it's really hard to lose. That said, it's still kind of clunky and I don't recommend getting it early, but in a certain deck, I mean, that's what's cool about this format. You can really sort of make anything work. Cultist Staff, yeah, I'll take that. It's still the good stuff. Field Creeper, or a second Staff, or Abundant Maw. I'll go for power here. We don't have... well... yeah, I guess I'll still go for power here. It's possible we go into an Abzan deck, and even if we never get black, we could hit 8 mana. Iron Right's Cleansing. No werewolves to speak of, so this is a fine sideboard card. Same idea. Alright, an awkward green-white deck. The good part is a lot of people seem not to be thrilled with green-white at the moment. I'm convinced that it's just a matter of not being figured out yet. Ooh. Okay, so there is a good card here in Sigardian Priest, and then there's a great card in Distended Mindbender. I wonder if this is worth casting at 8 mana. In any case, if we pick up a Terrarian or some really good fixing, that could put us heavily into black or maybe Abzan. And this card is great. Yeah, I'm going to take that here to follow up the Abundant Maw. If it wasn't that, I mean, Sigardian Priest is good, Long Road Home is fine. The other good cards are black, Boon of Emrakul, Rise from the Grave. Okay, I'm not going as far as dipping into blue, but let's see, we could take Borrowed Grace, which works well enough with Lone Rider, or Faithbearer Paladin, which is just good all around. Yeah, that seems better. Alright, then we're seeing a lot of these crop sigils. Without much else here, except some red and blue cards. Another Lunarch Mantle. I don't want to fill up on Lunarch Mantles. That just doesn't strike me as very good. But I'll take this crop sigil. These are the Delirium colors. Okay. Another Bloodbriar. Still trying to keep an eye out for fixing. Good fixing is a priority with a couple of strong splash cards. Yeah, the Lunarch Mantle even combos with this Bloodbriar to power it up randomly. For pretty cheap as well. Cheaper than a clue. Alright, definitely taking this Terrarian. Dusk Feaster is another payoff for being in black in a Delirium deck, but first we have to get there, so try to make this work. Okay. Yeah, the more Bloodbriars, the better. And I think if we were to give up a color, it would be white, but I kind of don't want to do that. Not for just these guys. And besides, it works well with Lone Rider. Abundant Maw gains 3 life. Okay, Guardian of Pilgrims might have to be the pick. Peace of Mind is better with some Madness cards, but white doesn't have any Madness, so that's not really a thing. Spring Sage Ritual is good. You encounter a lot of artifacts and enchantments in this format. Okay, Gavany Unhallowed plays, a good imitation of Bloodbriar. And we have Borrowed Grace. It might just be worth having one Borrowed Grace around. Or possibly a Crossroads Consecrator. Let's see. Well, Bloodbriars aren't humans, are they? No, it's not a we don't seem to be a dedicated human deck. I'll take Borrowed Grace. It's a good card to have access to. Swift Spinner's fine. I'm not splashing for Whispers, although that's kind of a cool card. Alright, Rise and Wolfkin Bond. Rise is cool because it gets Somberwald Stag and even the Evangel back, or anything that our opponent had. Wolfkin Bond is interesting because you get a wolf, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think this card is better than it looks. I'm going to try it out. It's also our second aura for the Ironclad Slayer. Alright, I'll do it now. One of these Consecrators and another Lunarch Mantle. Ooh, 2 of them. It's starting to look like a real combo. Maybe the Grit is okay. It has the upside of if the opponent blocks the Lone Rider, can grit it up and then flip it. Okay. We'll still have to wonder if we're playing these 2 black splashes. So what do we start with? Dauntless Cathar is kind of cool. Partly for being a human. The Solitary Hunter is also a good rate. It might just not be as good as the Dauntless Cathar, though. Maybe that's close. It really depends on what you're trying to do. I'll go for the Hunter, actually. But, I mean, if we're sacrificing creatures and things... It's not an easy pick. And they're both humans, so that doesn't really break the tie. I'll take the Solitary Hunter. Oh, cool. Silver Partisan. Aim High and Angelic Purge. Well, we don't have that many combos for this Partisan. I mean, it's okay to begin with, but we're not really the Wolf deck. Maybe we pass that on for Angelic Purge, which does sacrifice something for these Bloodbriars. Aim High is kind of cool as well. Let's take the Purge. Rabid Bite. Alright, finally a little payoff and some more removal. That was our first piece of removal. Okay, we're not that good at getting lands into our graveyard, so Crawling Sensation is a little bit slow and clunky. Although, it is cool with Emrakul's Evangel, if you get a bunch of these insects and then sacrifice them. Scarecrow. I like the Scarecrow. What does it do? We're not really trying to get to Delirium much at all. I mean, we can just cut Crop Sigil at this point. But the nice part about the Scarecrow is it thins and it fixes for black mana to cast our good stuff here. Maybe it's better just to play this Provisioner because we've got this aggressive human theme, but I'm going to go a little late game. Alright, Bound by Moonsilver fits perfectly into our strategy, as does Thraben Inspector. Confront the Unknown is interesting. There's just not the upside of like having a bunch of clues in play at once in this deck, so consistency. Ooh, Tenacity versus Thraben Inspector. What to pick? I'm trying to think if Tenacity would be that good here. And Graph Mole, it's not as good as it used to be. Okay, yeah, I'll take another Thraben Inspector. It works so well with some of the things we have. Cult only really works with 2 cards, but Unruly Mob could have its place. And at this point, we can kind of give up on black, I think. The deck is going to be powerful enough in 2 colors. Okay, the swine is fine. Alright, and that looks to be about it for our deck. Maybe double Consecrator is good in a deck with all this stuff. Primal Druid. Yeah, I'll keep that in. We do have a sacrifice outlet for a creature. A couple, actually. The sensation is back. Alright, still way too many cards. Cultist's Staff is a bit worse than, like, Lunarch Mantle in this deck. Although maybe not. I'm just thinking of the combo with Bloodbriar, but... Or, yeah. Bloodbriar, basically. Alright, so we're not in blue. We're not really in this black, but we could possibly splash these guys. Influences out. One Lunarch Mantle sitting around here. Okay, a bunch of Inspectors, a bunch of Consecrators for an early little rush, and a bunch of humans. So we really do have enough humans to start justifying these Consecrators. The effect is powerful, as long as you remember to use it. Woodcutter's Grit might be an early cut. I'm not going to lie, I kind of want to keep Spring Sage Ritual in this deck. But it might have to be the cut. Then we have a very few ways of flipping Lone Rider. It's really only attacking with it, Lunarch Mantle, Faithbearer Paladin, and like gaining a life plus Spectral Reserves. And that's not very many ways. We could put in another Lunarch Mantle and take out Wolfkin. Well, Wolfkin Bond is another way. We could just play Woodcutter's Grit. It's not bad as a one-of. Terrarian is still good. These double Bloodbriars really feed on that kind of thing. The Scarecrow. I almost want to play Abundant Maw, but not the Mindbender. As crazy as that is. So we could play one Consecrator, and Abundant Maw, and cut Kessig Diresworn? Yeah, I like that well enough. We have plenty of creatures. The Kessig Direswine is fine, but it doesn't have that upside of flipping Lone Rider. Alright, so what's it going to be? Well, we need at least one black. So the way it's set up, I like 881. Even though most of our turn 1 plays are, well... Alright. Never mind. Abundant Maw, get out. I'm going to play 9-8 white. Just to be sure our mana really works out. In that case, maybe we get rid of this Wildfield Scarecrow and put in Woodcutter's Grit. Yeah, just to protect our investments. I think that might do it. Okay, so white, green, something or other.